Hey everyone, it is Velvet. Welcome back to more Persona 3 FES. In the last one, we rekindled some social links we've been putting off for a while, such as like Kenji and Hidetoshi, the Emperor, and learned about Persona suppressants from the cutscene with Shinji in the hospital. And in this one, we are going to Tartarus. So, Fuka, let us go. And I think the group I'm gonna be taking with me for the first leg up is a bit of an odd one. So our main healers, Yukari and Mitsuru, are out because they are both weak to elements that the boss will be using. And I don't want them to get one shot by Tziah or Agidine. That means Aigis is also out because of her weakness to Tziah. So I have decided on Akihiko as our sort of support member. He's not a good healer, but he does have some healing capability, and he's strong against electricity. Junpei, because of his resistance to fire, and then Koromaru because of his immunity to fire. And I think that'll be our main team. None of them will be very damaging. In fact, Mitsuru would be our best shot at damaging the boss because of her ice abilities. However, I think because of her own weaknesses, that's a bit too much of a liability. So we're gonna have to be deliberate about our own personas that we bring so we can strongly cover weaknesses. Ooh. I don't know if we have anything on hand that is safe. No, I don't think so. So let's go and just fuse whatever we can and try and create anything as safe as we can. Ideally, we get something with a resistance to at least one of the two elements. King Frost isn't gonna be it. And then hopefully something new as well. And then like this, and then we can move Bufala over to it. Yeah, I think that'll do. What do these two personas have on them real quick so I can figure out what I want to carry over? I think Bufala and then the two auto skills, I think. Dodge Elec won't be necessary because it already has a resistance to electricity. So we want to carry over Bufala and then the two auto skills, I think. Counter would also be nice, but it's not necessary for this boss in particular upcoming. I'll settle for one of the auto skills as long as we get Bufala. But we have to get well, this is just rude. We get both of the auto skills, but we don't get Bufala. Oh, I should have... let's keep going. See if we can get what we want. I want both of them. And now that I've seen I can get both of them, so I just want to... Yeah, I'm just going to keep going until I get Bufala in both of them. And if that takes a while, then I guess I'll be here until I have work tomorrow. There we go, and we get Pulinpo with it, which isn't the ideal choice, but it's fine. That'll do. We got both of the other things that we needed. And then this is level 5, yes? So we'll get some other things from it as well, such as Survive Light I saw in the preview. I am Loa. You and I are two sides of the same coin. Remember that. Okay, so we get Survive Light. And it levels up enough to get us Zionga. Not going to be particularly useful, but more useful than Puinpa. Status elements kind of suck in Megami Tensei games, unfortunately. Gets better in future games in the series. In, like, Persona 5 Merciless, early game status elements are very helpful, for example. But, like, right now, not so. Let's see what else we can make. Saki Mitama. Oh, this would just be a good defensive persona all around. And what am I bringing with it? Not much. Yeah, okay. So Rebellion and Tarukaja are fine. If I can level it up to enough to get it to give me Mediarama before the boss, then that would be ideal. Yeah. Let's go for that. Because it's resistant to both fire and lightning, so that would be an incredibly good defensive persona to have against the upcoming boss, because those are its attacking stats. I don't think we're going to get Mediarama immediately, because we only have one. Yeah, we only have 2 ranks from the Lover's Social Link, so we're probably just going to want to equip that one and try to get through other fights with it. Serio. Not helpful for this fight, but we may as well fuse it, I think. And it'll get some decent level. What am I carrying with me? Post Moody, Sharp Student, Harukaja. They both have auto skills that would be useful, I think. Oh, do they both have the same? They both have the same auto skill. But that Ma Tarukaja was a... Yeah, that'll do. That'll be a good thing to bring across. Sure. I am Seiryu. I was born of thee, and I shall walk by thy side. Alright. And that level up will get us Magarua at the very least. And Diorama. I think Poison is probably more useful than Panic. Yeah. Does it get a... It does not get a Diorama if I level it up all the way. Cool. Noted. Any other cool fusions I can do? Not really. Nothing from that. Nothing from that. Hanuman. No, I won't fuse Hanuman. Vasky? Also no. Ooh. Rikarmdra. If Rikarmdra is the one I think it is, then no, actually. Because that's like... Isn't that the one that hurts you so you can heal? Because I know simply Recarm is revival, and then I believe the revive with full HP is Samarikarm. And I think Rikarmdra is not useful for the protagonist to have, because you lose if the protagonist dies. Yeah. Reduces the user's HP to 1 and then heals everybody else. So, like, I don't think it's completely useless, but it's very situational and not one that, like, I care to get at this point. Basically, the only situation you would use it in is if your entire team is dying, and then the next person in turn order is someone that could heal you. But if that's the case, that person is probably also capable of healing everyone. So I just, not really worth it to me. But I guess that'll be our persona deck. Our two main personas for this fight that we will be using are Loa and Sakamitama. And not Seiryu because of its weakness. But let's equip Sakamitama, and then hopefully we can level it up to level 42 so we can get Tziah. And then that means we have a good full party healing. Mayhaps, maybe so. Please. Either way, let us... am I going the right way? You'd think I wouldn't get turned around in one of the preset floors, but here I am. Okay. Let's rush up to the next block and see what that looks like, because it won't be Yabasha anymore, I'm pretty sure. So we'll be in an entirely new place. Which we've already seen the name of. I don't know why I'm trying to be like a little coy about it. We already know what it looks like. Beans. Well, let's just fight this thing. I need experience anyway. Why am I complaining? Weak against dark, huh? I ain't using that because I want my current persona to be the one to gain experience, and if I switch to my persona with dark, then it'll, like... Then that will siphon all the... Was it weak to light? It might have been weak against light, not dark. In which case... It doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, it's weak against light. If I had switched to my persona that used dark, it would reflect it back at us, and then I could have just risked a full party kill right then and there, which would certainly not be ideal. Since we've cleaned this room, let's get Discharm. Very helpful. Gonna want a lot of those. Not for the upcoming boss, just in general. Discharms are good. I need to remember to fuse Narcissus again soon, so I can, like, get his bond item, and then grind him to a certain point into dust, so I can get multiple of that bond item. 4 for the full party. Because, again, one of the most useful accessories in the entire game. Charm sucks. Especially when your healers get charmed. Especially when your healers get the highest tier healing skills. Diaron, because that just heals full HP. And if your healer gets Diaron and then gets charmed, they're healing the boss up to full HP, and it sucks. Anyway, welcome to the 4th block of Tartarus. Wow, we're getting really high up there. Something seems very different about this floor. Yeah, it's gold. Very, bright compared to the previous floors we've been on. The enemies are different too. I'll scan the floors above you. Please give me some time. But yeah, we're in Tziah. I should have looked up how that was pronounced. My bad. So yeah, different set of enemies, different different aesthetic, a new instrumentation added to the backing track. Let's go. So, as usual, I'm gonna jump off, and me in editing later will talk about something. I have something in mind right now, but we'll see how much I get actually planned out for that, and if not, it'll be back to regular Persona hours, which is just as well because I have a lot of them that we've gathered that I have left untalked about. I gotta catch up on them, or else I'm gonna leave many untalked about by the end of the game. Or maybe I'll just have to lightning round them all at the end of the game. I don't know. This isn't very well planned, as you can see. Anyway. So today, because Persona suppressors have been introduced, I want to talk about a Persona story that they're sort of prominent in. And that's the animated sequel/spinoff of Persona 3 that's oft forgotten about, which is Persona Trinity Soul. Now, you might know of Trinity Soul because of the one meme that's been going around about the one song that appears in it with just the weird rap lyrics, such as, "I'm in the house like carpet," but I regret to inform you that that song never plays in full in the series proper. Sometimes it plays at the start of episodes, but it never reaches the lyrics, and I'm so sad about that, because that song is hilarious. It's called Burning Men's Soul, if you haven't heard it already. Despite it being a sequel spin-off, it doesn't really largely connect to the Persona universe other than sharing some concepts. And in my opinion, it is an enjoyable story, but I don't think it benefits incredibly much from being in the Persona universe instead of just being its own thing. I won't be talking about the full story, though there will be some spoilers in this, because I do think it's worth giving a chance, but if you do look into it, I have to give 3 content warnings for you. The first is that one of the themes that appears in Trinity Soul is addiction, specifically of drugs, but it can also be read as sex addiction in some scenes. Warning 2 is for episode 2 specifically, which has a scene that reads very uncomfortably like a rape scene. Like, if you saw it out of context, that is what you would think it is. And even in context, it's very uncomfortable. And finally, it's just a general warning for body horror, which I'll explain in a bit. So, Trinity Soul is about, well, it's about a lot of things. Like Persona 3, it's about the bonds between others, specifically familial bonds in this case. It's about loss and the coping of. And as mentioned before, it's about addiction. There's enough going on that figuring out what order to talk about things is a bit difficult, but the series takes place roughly 10 years after Persona 3, in about 2019-2020, in a fictional city known as Ayanagi, which has spent the last 10 years recovering from apathy syndrome. The story revolves largely around a trio of brothers, Ryo, Shin, and Jun Kanzato, with Shin taking the role of the main protagonist. I'm going to talk about Ryo first, though. Ryo is the eldest brother and is the chief of the Ayanagi police, who, along with one of the only returning characters, Akihiko, Igor appears, but it's only for like 5 seconds, is singularly focused on solving a recent string of apathy syndrome cases, disappearances, and deaths known as the reverse cases. So named because the deaths being investigated share a similarity, which is all the bodies appear to be turned inside out, which is the body horror warning. Ryo himself is a Persona user. Now, none of the Personas in the show are ever named inside the series, only outside of it, so you don't learn this by watching, but Ryo's Persona is named after the biblical Cain. The younger siblings Shin and Jun also have personas, named after the biblical Abel and Seth. For those who don't know the story, Cain and Abel were both sons of the first humans Adam and Eve, and Cain grew immensely jealous over Abel, as the pure-hearted and earnest Abel grew to be more favored by God. Eventually, this jealousy fed into rage, and Cain struck Abel down, killing him and burying the body, which has been come to known as the first murder in human history. Seth was born soon after and became a sort of replacement for Abel in order to mend Adam's heart, as well as take Abel's position as the sibling favored by God. Like most Persona stories, the story doesn't match one-to-one with the users. For starters, Ryo does not murder Shin. In fact, Ryo greatly cares for and is protective of both his siblings, and all his actions serve primarily to protect them. But he does treat them harshly and tries to keep them at arm's length, to the point that they feel he doesn't care or trust them at all. And he flat out tries to get them to leave the city because he doesn't want them involved. And it does reach the point where Shin especially does not trust Ryo and thinks he may be responsible for other people's deaths. Furthermore, Ryo's persona is not as special as Shin's nor Jun's. It has combat prowess, and that's really it. Let's talk about Jun next. Jun, prior to the story 10 years ago, got into an accident. Now, I've neglected to mention something. Jun had a twin sister named Yuki. In this accident, both of them were on death's door, Yuki beyond the point of recovery. Through an experimental brain surgery, which used parts of Yuki's brain to save Jun, he alone survived. Though Yuki does too, sort of. Kind of as a result of this, both of them live together in the same body, though Jun is normally the one in control. But sometimes Yuki's personality bleeds through, with Shin especially noting that sometimes it doesn't feel like he's talking to Jun at all. Now, together, their collective persona is Seth, and they can't summon him unless they're both present. And Seth is incredibly special. Seth grants Jun the ability to feel others' emotions, specifically their anxieties, and with great accuracy can guess what they're thinking. It also has the ability to calm down personas that have gone berserk and are causing harm to their user, without the user needing to use suppressors. Now, Shin is the middle brother, and our protagonist. His persona, Abel, has the ability to sever people's connections with their persona entirely, which he eventually uses to combat the antagonists of the series, a group known as Marebito, which means something like strangers. Marebito are a group of persona users similar to Strega in that they were given their personas unnaturally, who are using their personas to steal personas from everybody else to make their own stronger. But in the process, doing so kills the original user and turns them into a reverse case victim. However, both because of their unnatural personas and that their personas are accumulations of many others, they become unruly and need persona suppressors to keep them from killing their hosts. So, they, along with Ryo, are regular users of the suppressors. Now, why does Ryo take them? Well, one thing I haven't mentioned is that this universe has a unique rule regarding persona users, in that, as one reaches adulthood, unless they take the suppressors, they lose the use of their personas. So Ryo takes them in order to keep using his persona as he needs. Now, I need to mention that this rule is entirely unique to this story. It wasn't the case before, and it isn't the case now in any other installment in the series. Persona 2, for example, is full of adult persona users, including one that's older than Ryo, Balfu at like 30-ish. And Persona 5 Strikers has Zenkichi, who is a dad, who first awakens to his persona as an adult. Because of Persona 2, I can only guess they looked exclusively at Persona 3 and saw that Ikutsuki and Mitsuru's father are aware of the Dark Hour but can't use personas themselves and just ran with that idea. But that's just my speculation. I can't confirm whether that's true or not. But I also don't really consider this a problem, because Persona is a series that's no stranger to parallel universes, or the rules of one's universe being rewritten. So, I just take this as being an alternate universe where that is true, rather than a specific inconsistency. Anyway, the story revolves largely around these three brothers as they come to trust each other and attempt to combat Marabito. And over the course of the story, you do learn much more about their relationship with each other, both past and present, and I do find it incredibly nice, especially as Ryo comes to soften a little bit more towards his siblings, as he was in the past. He used to be like a fantastic and caring brother. He just has a strong sense of responsibility, and as he is now their primary caretaker, he doesn't feel that he can be quite as compassionate. He has to be harsh in order to keep them out of danger. And of course, this is a Persona story, so there has to be supernatural side and the regular side. So Shin goes to high school, of course, and there he befriends three others predominantly. Takuro Sakakiba, a goofy, headstrong character who's similar to Junpei, whose father went missing 10 years ago. It's always 10 years ago. That's gonna appear in, like, everyone's backstory. Both major and minor characters. Who awakens to the persona Spartacus, who is known for being a slave who rebelled against the Roman Republic. There's Megumi Kayano, an assertive and passionate girl who awakened to her persona 10 years ago while trying to protect her family, but in the process lost her little brother. Her persona is Diana, who is the Roman equivalent of Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. And finally, Kanaru Morimoto, a quiet and anxious girl who has the persona Astarte, a goddess of both war and sexuality. Morimoto has another important role in that, outside of the persona suppressors, she serves to represent the addict in the aforementioned drug addiction theme. See, there's another concept in this series called shadow extraction, which, to my understanding, two people conduct a sort of ritual together that lets them interact directly with the other's psyche, and it's said to produce an incredibly euphoric feeling, and it's said to reduce stress short-term, but can also cause immense stress and even be physically dangerous long-term. Usually, this is written as drug addiction, but again, as mentioned further, depending on the scene, it can be used as a sex addiction allegory instead. It all just depends on what they're trying to convey in that specific scene. But Morimoto is incredibly addicted to shadow extraction, to the point where Megumi especially is incredibly worried about her, and it starts to cause immense stress on her friendships. She even goes through a literal withdrawal at some point, and after not being able to do shadow extraction, and it's referred to directly as such. The allegory is not very subtle, but I do think it's a good one for the sole fact that it doesn't vilify her for this addiction. It's treated as something that's not a moral failure at all, and while it does cause stress on her relationships, it's not a moral failure on her at all. And instead, it's just something she struggles with, and something she's able to overcome with compassion and patience from her friends. And it does cause a lot of stress on those friendships, but in the end, I think they're very instrumental to helping her overcome it and get to the road of recovery. And I think that's a very important approach for it to take, especially for it being a 2000 anime. Now, there is one more thing I would like to talk about. So this series can be sort of slow-paced and hard to follow at times, and I think because of it, it has a sort of dream-like feeling to the series. Not everything feels quite real, and there's one thing that exemplifies this dream-like feeling the most, and that's the being known as the whale. So let's back up a bit. There's a story written in universe by Shin's parents called The Whale's Feather, which details a boy leaving home, searching for a way for his village to stop fighting amongst itself and find happiness. In the process, he meets a girl who seems incredibly happy, and he asks her how, and she tells him because she can hear the whale's song. So he asks him, how do I hear the whale's song? And she just tells him, just listen. So the boy continues on his journey and thanks the girl for her help, and on his journey searches out for the way to hear this song. One day, he reaches a seashore, very similar to the village he came from, and very faintly, he does hear the song. It sounds like it's coming from the sea, so he tries to get closer, and gets into a boat and rows towards it, and decides the song must be coming from the bottom of the sea, and dives down. As he dives down into a bright light, he hears the song clearer and gets surrounded by feathers. Eventually, the boy returns home, carrying these feathers with him, and he shows these feathers to everyone in his village, which causes the people to stop fighting, to stop despairing, and grants them happiness with each other. But as the villagers find happiness, one by one, the people start disappearing, leaving the boy alone. But this doesn't bother the boy, as he's still able to hear the song. Now, this story is discussed many times in the series, and the whale itself is referred to as an actual entity from the Sea of Souls, which is an actual Persona concept, by the way, where all souls are born and returned to. It appears most predominantly in the first game, but this is a concept that is at least mentioned in every game. And whale feathers are often seen alongside supernatural events, and sometimes in advance, serving as some sort of omen that something's about to happen. It also coincides with a mysterious girl in red who doesn't appear to exist on the physical plane either. While this girl is eventually fully explained, the actual whale is not. So a lot of what the whale is left to speculation, and I find that interesting. I choose to interpret it as a sort of personification of the Sea of Souls itself, a deity that exists in order to fulfill the sea's ultimate goal and return souls to it. But that's just my guess, and I don't know for sure. However, I do recommend you give this anime a shot. Though I do say you shouldn't go into it expecting a hard sequel to Persona 3. Most people who do seem to dislike it. Instead, approach it as its own thing that simply exists adjacent to Persona 3. If you do so, I think you'll probably enjoy it more.
Check it out, I'm in the house like carpet. And if there's too many heads in my blunt, I won't spark it, I'll put it in my pocket and save it like rocket fuel. Till everybody's gone and it's cool, then I spark it up with my brother. His mama named him Moan, but I call him Moan Lover, and he's more than a cover, he's a quilt. We're putting shit together like the house that John built on a hill, cause this shit gonna feel like velvet, turtle. My style fits tighter than a girdle. If you hate it, then you can just leave it, like Beaver. But in a day or two, I'll make you a true believer in me, cause like the alphabet you'll see, the ism kicks a rhyme, not your everyday soliloquy. Like Chef Boyardee, my rhyme is truly cooking. Peace to Matty Rich, cause he's straight out of Brooklyn, New York. I don't eat pork or swine when I dine. I drink a cup of Kool-Aid, not a big glass of wine or a Heineken. If you have time, I'll drop rhyme again.
There are 3 shadows in the middle. Be careful. I will. Also, that fight just before the stairs sure was a comedy of errors. A bunch of people missing, and then the enemy just pulling out the Hamon and killing Junpei on the spot. That was, fun. Unfortunately, we did not get near to leveling up Saki Mitama. That is the one we have, right? Saki Mitama. I know we also picked up Kusi Mitama. Yeah, we didn't get close to leveling it up enough for Medea-Rama, and it's still a ways away. That's still a decent chunk of grinding. So, we won't yet. But we picked up some personas along the way, so let's see what else we can fuse. Why did I go to this menu? We did also get the katana needed for the request, but I didn't expect to, so we don't have that one accepted just yet. So let's see what new things we can fuse, and see if there's anything. Fuse another Saki Mitama, yes. We can fuse Impusa, but that's level 23. Hanuman. what does Leonon Sid have? Medea, Diorama. Okay. And what does... I expected it to just go all the way once it hit 9. What does Clotho have? Okay, neither necessarily have anything we need, so let's just... Oh, it has Recarm. That's useful, and it's also strong against lightning, so yeah, Hanuman might actually be pretty useful to me. His actual model is a lot less graceful looking than his sprite. I am Hanuman, the stalwart harbinger of thy victory. Once again, you and like every other persona out there are the stalwart harbingers of my victory. Which one of you is going to eat me whole? Me eat you whole. Something's about to happen to Recarm? Nope! Whatever's gonna happen to a revival skill is not worth it. It's gonna change into Recarmdra, probably. Nata Taishi. Not useful to us, but it's still a new persona, so why not? Wait, who am I fusing? Sarasvati and Floros. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Ooh, Floros not... Oh, but it doesn't have any skills useful to us, so Nulling Fire doesn't really mean anything. Oh, right. Chariot's pretty high level, so we're going to get some stuff out of this, too. We get Regenerate. We get... Gale Slash. Yeah, sure. It came with Swift Strike. Let's see what Gale Slash becomes. Ice Break. Not super helpful, but oh well. But we get Counter Strike out of it, as well as Herculean Strike. Okay. Interesting. And, what else might we be able to fuse? I'm not gonna fuse Loa or Saki Mutama away unless the thing I get for them outdoes the utility that they give me. And it's not looking like... Yeah, it's not looking like either of them are. So let's see what else I can fuse. I can get Dionysus eventually. Samael. Ooh. Get Swift Strike. Wait, hold on. Oh, no, nothing for Tziah. Okay, unfortunate. I was like, oh, it's giving me Dodge Fire, so if it's immune to electricity, that might be helpful. Yeah, sure. Let's take this. So I'm like keeping a notepad of like all the personas we've gotten and like which ones I've talked about. And man, is this list increasing. I may need to expedite this process and talk about them a bit more I guess efficiently, because let's see. I have about 20 untalked about as of recording this. So, that's a bit. Something's about to happen to Garula. No, I don't think I shall. Also, it's getting Megiddo. Megiddo's interesting, because Megiddo is more expensive than other magical skills. And I wouldn't exactly call it stronger. It can be, I guess. But it's more expensive, but what it is that it doesn't hit any weaknesses, but it can't get resisted either. So it's guaranteed damage, essentially. No matter what. Pale Rider, huh? It's way too weak for my blood. Thoth isn't useful, and then these two can just become Voski. You know, when I'm fusing these two away to get Voski, maybe so. Maybe this is worth it. I'm gonna want to inherit Recarm, though, I think. Well, there we go. Ask and you shall receive. What's one more to the pile? I don't even know why I'm doing this, because it's like, I'm not gonna fill the compendium. So there's no reason to keep just fusing away like this. Really. Other than to just fill the compendium. But it's still interesting. But it's still just how I'm doing it. Like, that's basically it. We have these four, and these four are, not helping me with social links down the line, really. Unfortunately. So, we're gonna have to deal with that once we get there, but we have plenty of money. It should be fine. Well, now that we've done that, let us save and then go up to our shadow. And let's equip this one because it has the auto skills. Let's go up to floor 122. There are 3 shadows in the middle. Yes, of course. The middle being on the left side of the map. And yep, here we are. These are the arcane turrets.
This is no ordinary enemy. Don't let your guard down.
I won't. Thank you for the warning, Fuga. But yes, these are the arcane turrets.
Give me a sec.
They are strong against all physical. They null fire and electricity, and then they're weak to ice. So your attacking options are incredibly limited. For now. So yeah, Junpei and Koromaru's attacking option. All 3 of these attacking options are basically nil. So I'm gonna set Koromaru and Junpei on knockdown, so that'll just leave them on physical, so they're not gonna get nulled. And then Akiko, you will be on heal support. And then me will be on knockdown duty. Oh, and their attacks.
The enemy is down.
They use Agi and Zeodyne. And they also have a mind charge. They can just deal more magical damage. And they also have Marakunda and Eerie Sound so that they can distress everyone. Ooh, do I want to? I don't really do enough damage on my own. So I don't know if the, words. I don't know if just stalling them out with Bufu's smart. Let's see how much damage all-out attack does before I decide. Surely we can survive 1 turn. Okay, yeah, we're gonna want to be all-out attacking. It's a bit more risky, but it's the only way that we're gonna finish this battle in a timely manner. That group mind charge with Raccoonda is terrifying, though, because depending on who they target, that could be bad. Oh, I didn't think about this. Sakimitama's weak to strike, so they could just pelt me and knock me down. So if they hit us with the element we're resistant against, it should be fine. But if they hit us with the element we don't resist with the Mind Charge plus the Marakunda, that could be dicey, you know? So I'm a bit concerned. But I think we only have to survive a one round of it, and then we can just win with all-out attack, I think. So I just gotta hope I luck out with who they target and with what. Let's see, if they Zeodyne... Yeah, Zeodyne Akihiko. That's perfectly fine. Akidyne... That sucks. That also sucks. But we survived and they're no longer mind charged, so I think we're okay.
The enemy's off balance. Attack!
As long as these all connect, then we win. Nice, recovered. Okay.
Worried about Akihiko-senpai.
I was a bit worried about him too, Fuka, but it seems like he is okay. Nice.
The battle's over. No shadows are left.
3 massive wheels.
My persona has a new ability.
And what's that ability?
It restores your health a little when you advance to the next floor.
That's pretty convenient. Thank you for that, Fuka. Alright. Well, let's go and get our treasure chest from this floor. Balm of Life. Very useful. And now we will head back. I think we're reaching a point where we can do all the floors in one go with the amount of party members and stamina we have. So I'm just going to do that. But from the last time I did this, that's going to take a little longer than I anticipate. So I will end this off here. So, until next time, thank you so very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. But until then, have a fantastic day, alright?